All right, the Dallas Mavericks just beat the Denver Nuggets 123-120. Kyrie Irving, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Najee Marshall with his career high 26 points. PJ Washington, 22 points, 13 rebounds, taking over there at the end. For the other side, the Nuggets, 33 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 assists for Nikola Jokic. 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists for Michael Porter Jr. And Jamal Murray had 14 points, 11 assists, and 5 rebounds. This was a tale of two halves. Kwab, if I'm going to be honest with you, coming out of the gate, there was the arena was just dead.
Yeah.
It was dead. Like, there's no energy to start from the fans and from the Nuggets players. The Nuggets came out lazy. They didn't play with a purpose. They weren't moving to the ball. There was no cutting. They were lazy on offense. They were lazy on defense. And Dallas came out and just punched them in the mouth, frankly, if I'm going to be honest with you. They just punched them right in the mouth. The story of the first half was the Dallas Mavericks points in the paint. Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford dominating the paint. Quentin Grimes came out, had 10 points in the first half, hit 2 quick threes. Dallas just came out, and I hate this phrase so much, but it's like, oh, they just wanted it more. You know, that's one of the I hate like that phrase pisses me off so much because sometimes you could be playing so hard and you can want it so bad, and that's a reason why you're messing up, and that's a reason why maybe you're doing things a little extra than you normally do. But honestly, like watching the first quarter or the first quarter and a half of this game, it felt like Dallas showed up to a basketball game and the Nuggets just showed up. Like they didn't know what was going on. It was almost that reductive to just be like Dallas came to play and Denver really did not come to play. Jokic had no help in the first half from Michael Porter Jr. until the end there. From Jamal Murray, really, he didn't shoot well in the first half at all. Christian Brown came out and he was gunning. He was probably the only one with energy to start the game. But aside from that, man, it was just like a very underwhelming performance from the Nuggets in the first half. And that's why they lost the game, really. You could point to the end of the game. They had a 5-point lead at the end, but they dug themselves a hole, a 24-point hole at the biggest, to come out of. And whether or not you come back from that or not, it's still really hard to win a game coming out of a 24-point hole. In the second half, they come out, they start protecting the rim. Dallas gets complacent on offense because you're putting ball pressure. You know, they're one pass, and there are times that Marshall drove to the hoop or PJ drove to the hoop and just without any type of ball movement whatsoever and going straight into the deep defenders, whether it was Christian Brown or Jokic or even DeAndre Jordan at times, playing right into the defense's hands. Denver completely flipped the game on its head because they started playing defense and they started pressuring the ball and they started protecting the rim, but a little too late there. Kwab, your general thoughts before we get into specifics.
Well, I agree with everything you said, actually. Dallas just wanted it more. Nah.
I hate that, man. I hate when people say that, but sometimes
it just looks that way. Yeah, I agree with that. It's just I'll say in the first half, it felt like Dallas was playing faster. Like even after Nuggets makes, they would just push the ball down, try to get a layup, try to get a shot up, and the Nuggets just were kind of playing back on your heels. And it was like you said, it was such a big lead, and for them to overcome it, and it became a close game at the end. It was still they dug themselves a hole. I think the third quarter was big for the Nuggets, and it was actually really big for Michael Porter Jr. I think he just had a great third quarter, and it helped with the comeback. And it wasn't only just jumpers; it was just like rebounding, making extra passes. Like you said, Denver picked up the defense. Picked it up on the defensive side in the second half. Their defensive activity was like stark difference from the first half to the second half. In the second half, it looked like Denver wanted it more. But,
they came out and the defensive activity, and they started running the ball. They were running off of makes. They were running off of misses. They were running in transition.
Yeah, and it looked completely different. I just like it, and they went from like you saw a couple of possessions where they were playing man, they were playing zone, just give them different looks, and Dallas just weren't getting the easy buckets that we're getting in the first half. Like it looked too easy for Dallas in the first half. So Denver looked more like Denver in that end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, where they were moving the ball, they were making the plays. kicking the ball out, hitting shots, and they just looked better. But they ended up coming up short. I was surprised it ended up being a close game because, like you said, the game started off Denver like it just felt dead in the arena. It just looked like lifeless, and I was surprised just because it's Jokic's first game back after he's been out for a while. So I expected him to have just a little more energy, and Jokic played a great game, like triple double, like as always. Like he that man sleepwalks through a triple double every game. Like it's crazy, But like they got like they were able to get like a little contributions here and there. Like I think they when they sat Jokic and they had DeAndre Jordan, and I was just like, oh, there he is. Forgot about that guy.
This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, this is exactly what it's like. Oh, okay. That was a couple of interesting moments, but I mean, good win by Dallas, especially without Luka. But you could see there were times where like they were kind of missing Luka in terms of when they came to half court and just being able to shot create for the other players. But great game by Najee Marshall. Like just stepped up, played great the whole game.
The others, they all played great.
Yeah.
I thought PJ Wash. I mean, obviously he kind of took over in the first. I mean, in the back end of the second half, they finished the game with PJ Washington. They started the offense through him in the first half. Also, Quentin Grimes was fantastic. I thought all game, not only hitting threes and open shots, but playing defense. Najee Marshall is. I mean, just lately for the Mavericks, I mean, he started off slow, similar to Quentin, but he's found his spot there, not just as a defender guarding the perimeter and guarding bigger guys, but also like actually handling the basketball, hitting threes. I thought he hit a huge three. There was a point in the third quarter where it looked like the Nuggets were about to I wouldn't say run away with it, but it was like it was going to get out of hand a little bit in the sense where it's like, oh, we might not be able to stop this momentum.
Yeah.
And I remember it was like 3 straight possessions of just like one pass, dribble straight into the paint, hope something happens. And Dallas actually ran a play where, like, Quentin Grimes set a screen, went through the lane, came back screen Najee's guy into the corner, and Najee had an open 3, hit it. And it just, like, cut the momentum right there. And then from that point on, it was seesaw.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like an avalanche of Denver just scoring the basketball. It kind of just flattened the game a little bit. And to me, that was one of the biggest possessions of the whole game. It was Dallas is good, man. They have a lot of players who can just fill their role, and when needed to step up, they can step up. Like Lively and Gafford were phenomenal today. I thought.
Yeah.
They, just controlling the paint, controlling the boards, especially in the first half, and then towards the end there, Lively played really well. They're just a really good overall team, and it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you do want to run the offense through Luka and Kyrie most of the time because they're 2 of the best players in the world. But they don't always have to, And if I'm Jason Kidd, that's a lesson that I could take from this where it's like, man, we don't always have to be so heliocentric, even though I understand why you are. If that's not working, you can go away from it. Marshall can get you a bucket. Quentin can get you a bucket. PJ can get you a bucket. If you run plays for them, if you just move the basketball like they did in the first quarter. So that's very encouraging if I'm a Mavs fan because you went out and even though the Thunder did not have Chet, you beat the Thunder in OKC without Luka.
Yep.
And then you beat Denver in Denver without Luka. That's huge.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's gigantic. And I know Denver was missing Aaron Gordon, but come on now. Like those are 2 huge wins for the Mavs, and it shows you what their others can do, when they need to be elevated. So shout out to them, man. And then as far as Denver's concerned, I liked Denver a lot in the second half. Russell Westbrook was phenomenal today.
He said something nice about Russell Westbrook. Let's go, baby. Let's go.
We need a sound effect.
You heard it here. You heard it here, guys. He did it. He did it. He did it.
I said it. He was, man. Russell was, to me, he played as perfect as a game as you could possibly play, especially for someone coming off the bench. He hit 4 threes.
Yep.
I thought Peyton Watson played excellent today as well. He was aggressive. He hit threes when he had to. Was attacking the paint as well. Christian Brown was good. It was overall, for the most part, a really good game outside of the fact that Denver just decided not to show up in the first quarter.
Yeah.
And most of the second quarter. If they showed up from the beginning, I don't say they win the game, but definitely what we saw in the late third, whole fourth quarter, we would have got that all game. But shout out to the Mavericks, man. This team, we had them 10th in our power rankings, but definitely a team. Obviously, they won the Western Conference last year. they're gonna be a handful when Luka comes back. They need Luka. We're not a podcast that's like, well, maybe they don't need Luka. Maybe they shouldn't run it through. They'll run your offense through Luka. Luka's number one option. Run it through him. But just all I'm saying is that at some point you can recognize that, hey, we can run a play for PJ. We can run plays for Naj. We don't have to have the ball consistently in Luka's hands to make things happen. It's a very encouraging sign if I'm a Mavs fan.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'll even say this: even in the second half, Kyrie didn't even play that well. Like, he missed a bunch of shots like he usually hits, and they were still able to pull out the victory. Looking at the stats right now, I didn't realize Clay was over.
Yeah, Clay was okay outside of shooting the basketball. I know it sounds weird to say. They were saying that on the broadcast too, where it's like Clay's actually not playing bad. He's just not shooting.
He's just not hitting shots. But like, even just having him on the floor, like, ends up spacing out the floor because a defender can't leave him. So that opens up the floor. Floor for the Mavs. And on the Nuggets side, I'll say this: it's encouraging to see how they played in the second half because, again, the way they started this season and with the injuries they've had and players out, you start to worry like what's going to happen with this team. But when this team is going and Jokic is playing how he's playing, the ball's moving, they look unstoppable. They have moments where you're just like, yeah, that's that championship team. Even with all these young role players and all this, like, they don't have the same team as before. But like you said before, Peyton Watson had a good game. He stepped up. Christian Brown has been playing well all season also. So you just hope like they can get healthy and they can just keep getting right. So because you still see them as one of the top teams in the West just because they have Jokic, right? Like, at the end of the day, you still see them as one of the top teams in the West. So you just hope they can just keep getting right as the season goes on.
All right, well, the Mavs beat the Nuggets 123-120 in Denver. Kwab and I will be back tomorrow because the Los Angeles Lakers are going to be in Denver as well, and they're going to be playing the Nuggets, and we're going to recap that game as well, so stay tuned for that. We might have an episode coming up later, so stay tuned for that as well. We'll see you next time for another episode or reaction. I don't even know what to call these things anymore, but just stay tuned.
Another show or something. Yeah.
We'll catch you next time. Peace.